Next question. What can I do to minimize the exposure to chemicals and toxins? What do you use in the shower? Shampoo, soap, toothpaste, stuff like that, and cleaning the house, etc.
Okay. Um, to minimize, well, I see people running and they're running in traffic and they're breathing in the fumes from traffic. It really doesn't make any sense to me. If you're going to run, besides learning how to run so you don't do damage to your lower body, the joints and stuff, don't run in traffic. That's an obvious one, but it doesn't seem to be obvious to a lot of people who are running because they want to be healthy. So run somewhere in a park. Obviously, organic food because it's not going to have the pesticides on it. A lot of makeup and body care products have chemicals in them. The skin is, we know the skin can put stuff out there. We can sweat and the skin gets rid of stuff, but it's also very absorbent. So when you put chemicals on your skin, whether it's cosmetics or perfume, whatever it is, it gets right into your body. So stop using all those things. I mean, personally, I think um, I can say this because I'm a man that women look better when they're not using cosmetics, but that's just me. But take that for what it's worth. Um, and I know there are supposedly more natural cosmetics that you can use, but even something there is going to be, absorbed by the skin. So if you can use nothing and just be a natural beauty and radiant glow that you would naturally have after a period of time of eating a healthy diet, that's best. Um, Colognes and perfumes. Well, again, I know a lot of people who had to wear like deodorants and perfumes and colognes to mask their smell because they were eating dead animals, which would putrefy inside their body and they'd smell horrible.
Yeah.
And they'd have to do their laundry every day, or they can only wear a shirt once, that kind of thing. When you just eat nothing cooked and no animal and just fruits and vegetables, you smell fine. You don't need any of that stuff anymore to mask any kind of body odors. As far as shampoo, yeah, there's healthier versions of everything out there, and I've made that a lot of done a lot of study with that. So I think I have a link to that on my website. It's a bar of shampoo, not a bar of soap. It's a bar of shampoo that you use to shampoo your hair. I think it only has two ingredients in it. It doesn't strip out your hair, so now you don't need conditioner, and it's just very natural. It's called J.R. Liggett Bar Shampoo. There's a link to it, I think, in the link section of my website. And yeah, just don't let it sit in water in between using it because if you let it sit in water, it just goes and it's gone.
Yeah.
Um, Soap, well, I don't use a bar. It's funny, the bar that I use is shampoo, and the liquid that I use is soap for my body. It's kind of the reverse of most people, which is the way I am in general. Um, so the soap is Dr. Bronner's. That's a
Okay.
pretty mild soap. It's
Yeah.
very gentle, and I'll use that on my body. But even you know what? If you get into the shower and in the shower water is a little bit on the warm side, okay, and use your washcloth, not for your hair, but for your body. You almost don't need any soap on your body if you then turn the water to cold or cool, I'll say, and then you're like, oh my God, and use that washcloth. You get extremely clean without using any kind of soap at all. Because when you get in there with the warm water, your pores open, and then you turn that water to cool or towards cold. Your pores just do this. They close up and they squeeze out what was in there, all the oils and gunk and stuff. And then you're going over it with the washcloth. You get really clean without having to use any. So if you don't want to use soap or you're very sensitive to soap, you don't have to use it.
Yeah.
You can just do that method, or just use it, under your arms, in your down by your groin. You can just use it there. You don't have to certainly use it on skin. But hair, our hair is a filter. It's filtering out the gunk in the air that we are out in every day. So unless you live in Tibet, yeah, you're going to need shampoo. Okay, toothpaste. I got a whole article on dental care and what toothpaste to use. And again, like I said earlier, it's best not to use a toothpaste at all. It's best to dry brush. But if you just have to use a toothpaste because you would just feel too weird, hey, I'm already eating nothing but fruits and vegetables. I got to use toothpaste or else I just feel like I'm from another planet. Okay, there are healthier toothpaste that you can use, which just use them after you do some dry brushing. Then put the toothpaste on your toothbrush and then use it. And I have them in my dental blog, which there's going to be a link to that in the show notes underneath the video here. The toothpaste. Cleaning the house was the other thing you mentioned. Yeah, that's easy. I just don't clean my house ever. No, I mean there are things you can do. You can use white vinegar. There's all kinds of natural cleaning products that you can do, and you wear, gloves when you use it to clean things. You don't have to use any of the normal detergents and household cleansers that have all these chemicals in there. There's a cleanser made out of orange peel. That's another good one. And sometimes just water, because water is a great solvent. It dissolves things because it's a great solvent. So you put water on something and you clean something. But if you have to deal with any kind of bacteria, like on a countertop, then it's like white wine vinegar and the that's a good one. Some people use a little bit of diluted hydrogen peroxide, food grade hydrogen peroxide, 3%. You just got to wear gloves. Use that. Oh boy, the bacteria hate that. They're dead. They're gone if you use any kind of food grade hydrogen peroxide. That's another good one. Again, just wear gloves. Have air going through your house. Have a window fan pulling lots of air through your house when you use these things. Anything but water. So yeah, pretty easy to keep things clean. Don't have any rugs. Don't have any wall-to-wall carpeting. Oh, the
Hmm.
worst. It's the worst.
Yeah.
Maybe you can, if you want to have a throw rug, that's fine because you can always take the throw rug outside and beat it with a tennis racket, to get the dust out of it. And you'll see how much stuff comes out of there. What comes out of there? It's what's in your wall-to-wall carpeting. So wall-to-wall carpeting is terrible. If you have it, and you can get rid of it and just put in,
Yeah.
bamboo flooring or wood flooring.
And do you also use this stuff for dishes and stuff like that?
No, I just use water on dishes. I don't have the need to use anything. If I've had, let's say, on the rare occasion when I have some avocado, well, first of all, I don't really even use a dish for it. I just take the avocado, and I cut it and I just eat it. It never sees a dish.
Hmm.
But because an avocado is fatty, let's say you've made guacamole, yeah, okay. So there you're going to have to use something to cut to cut the fat with. And that's, a few drops of that citrus stuff. Because oranges, in fact, I've seen someone take an orange and just squeeze the orange into the dish and just clean it with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, just squeeze the orange juice into a dish that's had guacamole in it. But for most other things, I just use water. We really don't need as much as we've been led to believe. I mean, you see TV commercials of the mother spraying the disinfectant
Yeah.
on the doorknobs and the everywhere, right? Yet she's feeding her children a animal-based diet and letting them hold cell phones up to their head. Uh,
Mm-hmm. Yep. What foods are especially good for cleaning our system and protecting from these toxins that we're exposed on a daily basis?
yeah, the best foods for cleaning out your system and protecting you from toxins are the foods we're designed to eat. In other words, there's nothing special. No food. You hear this all the time. People give these special attributes to a particular food. Oh, if your memory is going, eat kiwi. Oh, if your toe is hurting you, eat bananas. There's all these kind of things, and bananas are best for that. It's eating a variety of the foods that you're designed to eat. Now, I don't think I mentioned this before, but we're designed to eat fruit. But what fruit? Because you have fruits that are growing in tropical climates and you have fruits that are in temperate zone climates. We're designed for tropical fruit, which is very different from temperate zone fruit, right? The temperate zone fruits are apples,
Mm-hmm.
pears, grapes, berries. Well, they're good, but they're not as good for us as the tropical zone fruits, the mamey, the durian, and bananas grown in decent soil, not the Cavendish banana, which everyone has access to in the health food store, the Cavendish. Um, so it's just eating a variety of the foods that we're designed to eat, not overeating on them, obviously, being well hydrated. Um, a key to what's a good tropical fruit, the creamier a fruit is, the more it's going to have of essential fatty acids. So obviously that's why an avocado, very, very creamy. So an avocado is 75% fat. And that's really too much. I don't advise eating lots of avocado like a lot of people do. I'll just give you a little specific thing. We hear about the omega 6s and the omega 3s, and there's a ratio between 6s and 3s, and the ratio should not be higher than 4 to 1, 6s to 3s. Well, an avocado is 17 to 1.
Mm.
Yeah, when I tell people who are big fans of avocados, they're like, holy crap, that's not good. That is not good because you're getting way more 6s than 3s. But someone said to me, yeah, but the amount of 3s I'm getting, because I eat so many avocados, the amount of 3s I'm getting is the amount that we require. Yes, but you're not going to utilize them all. because it's the same enzyme that processes both the sixes and the threes. So if you're eating a very out of proportion amount of sixes, they're using a disproportionate amount of that enzyme, and all the threes don't get processed. And no, you're not. Now you're not getting enough of the threes, even though you ingested enough. So I eat avocados like super sparingly, if at all. I mean, I can go many, many, many months without eating any avocado. Not on principle, not because of intellectual reasons, just because my body says, no, I'm not. And I see them every day. I walk through the whole produce department every day looking at everything to see what speaks to me. And avocados, maybe once or twice a year for whatever reason. I don't know, but not any more than that. So it's just a good variety of and as many of the tropical foods as you can get. Um, these are good for just our body trying to keep homeostasis. And of course, keeping out the toxins. So buying the organic version of these. I just don't eat anything that isn't organically grown with certain exceptions. Watermelon, I'm not going to be such a stickler on watermelon. I'll try and buy the organic one first, even though it's more money to support the organic farmers. But if my body wants watermelon and all that's available is the conventionally grown watermelon and it's decent, I'll get it. Because, you know, same thing with bananas. I'd rather buy the organic bananas than I do, and I usually can most of the time. 99% of the time I can buy organic bananas. Sometimes I have to buy the conventional bananas. All right, look, I'm peeling them, and I'm not eating the peels like some people do. No, I'm just kidding. Nobody eats the peel. Even though you can throw, I heard somebody say, I can throw the peel in my Vitamix. The guy said, the Vitamix salesman, I can throw the peel, throw the watermelon rind in the Vitamix too. No, 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 no. The Vitamix salesman knows about the Vitamix. He knows nothing about nutrition. So it's just eating a variety. And in other words, it's not the foods that clean you out. It's not the foods themselves that detox you. The foods are just raw materials. They're just resources that the body uses to do that. So it's the body that's doing the detoxing. It's the glands and organs of your detoxing system, your immune system, that's doing it. And all they need is just what they need. They need enough of all the nutrients that they require to operate at 100%. So as long as you're giving them what they need. So in other words, it's not the food. So when you hear that, you know, strawberries have detoxing properties, no, they don't. We've done this with a lot of food by giving certain properties to foods that they don't really have. It's the body that does the work.
Yeah, absolutely. Next question. How often do you eat nuts and seeds, and how much do you eat when you eat them?
Okay, so yeah, this is a good question. We're not really designed to eat nuts and seeds. And look, let's just talk about nuts. They're not really available in nature the whole year like they are at the health food store. The health food store, you can go in there and get them anytime. They're already shelled for you. There's no work. All you got to do is rip open the bag, which I admit can be pretty difficult sometimes for some of these bags. But let's say you have a pair of scissors. Good. You're good to go.
Yep.
And you're just sitting there watching the movie, and you can finish the whole bag of almonds, and that's very, very bad. So a meal of nuts should be what you can hold in a closed fist. Now, that's not a lot, but that's a meal because it's very concentrated, super low water quantity. Plus, have you ever eaten a walnut out of the shell? You crack the shell open, you eat the walnut. It's not crunchy, it's more chewy. It has a higher water content than almonds, right? But no, almonds in nature would have just as high a water content as those walnuts from the shell. But with almonds, they have to dry them out or they'll spoil and they can't package them and sell them to you. So almonds aren't meant to be crunchy, they're meant to be chewy. So you're eating these things and they're just going to dehydrate you. So that's not good. And then some almonds are irradiated nowadays. It's a whole big problem. We don't really need nuts in our diet. I haven't had any nuts years. I did have, I think, some walnuts, some organic walnuts, but again, just would fit in my fist. But again, when I do that, I feel it. They take more processing energy than eating fruit. So we don't require them, in other words. We really don't require them if we're getting a nutritious diet otherwise. Now, seeds is a different story. Yeah, so I did eat sunflower seeds right out of a sunflower, and the little hummingbirds were there, and they were eating out of the sunflower, and they were looking at me like I was crazy, and they were talking to each other, probably about me. But it was not an enjoyable experience. Nothing like it was for eating when I eat fruit. So we don't really require nuts and seeds in our diet, but I do add seeds to my banana smoothie. And people go, what? First of all, that just sounds like horrible food combining seeds, which are high protein, high fat, and banana, which is pretty much all carbohydrate. That's bad food combining, isn't it? It would be. It would be if you took a bite of banana and then or a couple of bites of banana and then a couple of bites of sunflower seeds and then a couple of bites of banana and a couple of bites of sunflower seeds and you ate them that way. Yeah, that would be very bad food combining. You will have an upset stomach for sure. But if you combine them in a blender, now all you're doing when I combine certain seeds in a blender with my bananas, I'm just making a fattier banana. And there are other varieties of banana out there that are creamier than the typical bananas that we buy in the store. And when you try these other bananas, you're like, wow, this is so much creamier and sweeter. Why can't I get these? Because they're just very rare. I can get them down in South Florida. Namwa is my favorite variety, but the Cavendish, not so creamy. So if I want a more natural banana, I throw a little bit of hemp and chia seeds in the banana smoothie. Now, why do I choose hemp and chia? Because one has a 3-to-1 ratio of sixes to threes, and one has a 1-to-3 ratio of sixes to threes. Now, I know that's a mouthful, but what that means is if you throw equal amounts of hemp and chia seeds into a banana smoothie, now you got a 1-to-1 ratio of sixes to threes. And that's a perfect ratio. If you have that, you cannot go wrong. And you get the benefits of both hemp and chia. So those are the ones that I looked at all the different seeds that I could possibly throw in. Now you have to grind the chia seeds before you throw them in the blender, but you don't have to grind the hemp seeds before you throw them in the blender. You can just so I do a tablespoon of each. So yes, in that respect, I do eat seeds when I cannot get enough of the creamier tropical fruits. When I'm stuck eating more temperate zone fruits, which are low in the omega fatty acids, I will add those seeds to my smoothie. But when I'm eating tropical fruits, when I'm eating mamey and durian, etc., I don't need to throw anything into my smoothie. I don't need to use the seeds. Again, only using those two seeds to make sure I get enough omega-3s basically in my diet when I'm away from the tropical fruits.
And is it important to soak the seeds and nuts before consuming them?
There is a lot of people who will say, yes, you have to do it. You have to deactivate the trypsin inhibitors and blah, 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 blah. No, long story short, no, it's not necessary. Except, remember what I said a little earlier in this interview, almonds are not supposed to be crunchy. They're supposed to be chewy.
Yeah.
And they're just so dried out. So if you want to eat the almonds that you've bought in their more natural state, soak them for just a little while. But you don't have to soak them to get anything out of the almonds. You just have to soak them to kind of rehydrate them a little bit. So they're more like normal almonds. Now, and some people say, well, when I do this, I don't really like them. I don't like them this way. I like them when they're bone dry and crunchy. Well, yeah, you may, but your body doesn't.
Yeah.
Okay, because now you're dehydrating yourself because we're meant to have somewhat of a water content to the foods we eat. Even bananas have a water content to them, but not almonds. So the only reason you'd soak them is to just rehydrate them more. But again, we're not supposed to be big nut and seed eaters. And when I do the seeds, by the way, and I throw them in the blender, I'm kind of soaking them. I mean, they do puff up in the blender, but there's no reason to soak them overnight to do anything to them unless you want to sprout them. That's a whole nother story.
Right. And what are your thoughts on sprouts? How often do you eat them?
My opinion of sprouting, again, whenever I'm asked the question, I put my brain in a time machine and just send it back. What was I doing with sprouts 75,000 years ago, 50,000 years ago? What was I doing with sprouts? First of all, to make a meal of sprouts, you couldn't. It would just take too long, just finding them in nature. So just because we can find them today at the health food store already gathered up for us in a bag, so you have to just think about it. Should I be making a meal of them? In general, I would not sprout anything that I couldn't eat on their own. So I can eat sunflower seeds on their own, and I have. And the hummingbirds are probably still talking about it today. So I will eat sprouted sunflower seeds, sunflower sprouts. I'll eat them. But anything that I can't eat, like without cooking them, like certain lentils and things, just because you can sprout them doesn't mean that, okay, so now I can eat them because I don't have to cook them. Some of the bad attributes associated with the lentils come across into the sprout. So even though you had to cook the lentils, but you don't have to cook the sprout from them, you can still have some negative things from the lentil in the sprout. So that's why it's a good criteria to use. That's why I won't eat sprouted things that I can't eat in their unsprouted state. It's a good philosophy to have.
Hmm.
But if you get some really good sunflower sprouts, like there's a couple of brands that I know how they grow them and I know the soil they're growing them in, and you can kind of know when you taste them. They're really good. You add them into a salad, throw them into a smoothie. That's great. It helps you get, it's like using the green powder, except this is in its whole form, even better than the green powder. But using certain other sprouts, I wouldn't just throw any sprout into a smoothie to try and increase its nutritional value, which is a reason a lot of people use sprouts for. They throw them either on their salad or in their smoothie to increase the nutritional value. You may be doing that, but you may be adding some substances in there which your body does not want. So unbalanced, not a good idea. Um, but sunflower sprouts are probably the one sprout I would give a hearty thumbs up to.